Sexual harassment in the workplace. The problem. Sexual harassment within places of business has become a serious problem of late and has always been a problem of previous years. Sexual harassment includes, but is not limited to, unwanted or unwelcome verbal or physical force, lewd jokes, gender-biased slurs, or sexual contact from either sex. This includes interactions between people of the same sex and people of the opposite sex. Sexual harassment does not discriminate and can happen to anyone in any place of work. Did you know that 1 in 3 women between the ages of 18 to 34 have been sexually harassed at work, and a majority of these women were harassed, near 70% of them, by senior-level employees? Of these women reporting their harassment, 81% experience harassment in verbal form, 44% say they face unwelcome touching or sexual advances, and 25% say they have acquired lecherous texts or emails. This is not just a problem that happens to women, it happens to men too. Studies suggest that anywhere between 10 to 20% of men have experienced sexual harassment in the workplace. According to the EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, in 2016, 16.6% of charges filed for sexual harassment were filed by males. Although women are more likely to be sexually harassed than men, it doesn't mean it isn't a problem for males as well. Women are also more likely to report their harassment than men are. Sexual harassment in the workplace is prevalent because it is a problem in itself, but the bigger problem is how often it goes unreported to supervisors or to the EEOC. According to a survey, 29% of women did report their harassment incidents, but 71% did not. Along with the low levels of reports filed, there is also many employees who are not aware of their workplace policies regarding sexual harassment. 66.6% of victims aren't aware of their workplace policies, and 50.4% aren't aware of who should be contacted regarding sexual harassment. I'm going to play a brief video that explains why some of these women don't report their sexual harassment incidents and what causes them to want to stay silent.
A Hollywood problem. We spoke to working women from all kinds of industries late last year. How many of you have been sexually harassed over the course of your career? Leave your hand up if it's more than twice, more than 3 times, more than 4 times. How many of you have been referred to, show of hands, as a girl, a doll, a babe, or honey at work? Sweetheart belongs on that list as well. How many of you have heard you're too emotional?
You're being too emotional. Now don't get so emotional. That's the new word for sexism, and they put you down. But if you say anything, you're emotional because you're a woman.
And then this shocking drop in hands. How many of you filed an HR request against your harasser? But isn't HR supposed to be the safe place to report harassment?
Typically, the women are younger. They may be in a socioeconomic status that means they're very dependent upon their job. And the perpetrators know this and, in fact, prey on them and count on their silence.
I sort of silenced myself. I felt, in that moment, I feel like there's an erasure of yourself.
I have to really think about my values and what's important to me and weigh them against my career.
It's still hard for women and men who have been victims of sexual harassment to talk about it, which really speaks to how much we still stigmatize victims. And the goal is to empower women to speak up, which means that the perpetrators need very severe consequences.
The solution. Sexual harassment education within the workplace is one form of a solution for this problem. Places of business must adopt a clear sexual harassment policy that defines sexual harassment, the punishment for the incident, the reporting procedure, and any other information necessary. Besides establishing this policy, employers must make all employees attend a training session on sexual harassment or take an online sexual harassment course, such as the one offered by workplaceanswers.com. Employers must set a prime example and be educated in the matter as well. Employers should have to take a course on how to handle sexual harassment cases and know he or she must take all complaints seriously. Turning bystanders into allies is another way to help stop this. Bystanders and witnesses must adapt to become allies for those afflicted by sexual harassment. Those not being harassed but witnessing the incident can help put an end to sexual harassment, especially if the victim is too scared to say anything themselves. Employees must learn that if they see something, they should say something, and men must join in the fight for women and vice versa to put an end to sexual harassment in the workplace and not simply be enablers. The laws also must make a change. Currently, Title IX is a federal law that prohibits harassment in employment the basis of sex, race, color, national origin, and religion. However, even with Title IX's protections, many people across the country still face sexual harassment in their workplaces. Along with Title IX, the Forced Arbitration Clause enables sexual harassment within the workplace. The Forced Arbitration Clause is the fine print in certain contracts that keeps sexual harassment claims unheard of by removing your 7th Amendment right to an open jury process. Under this clause, only 20% of the time does their employee win the case. Both of these laws must be changed in order to give victims a better chance at receiving justice for their sufferings. Counterarguments. Many people believe that people receive sufficient education about sexual harassment in school and should have common sense about what is and isn't sexual harassment, and that taking the time out of work and spending money for education on the topic is ridiculous and unnecessary. Although this may be true for some, many women and men aren't sure what will be taken seriously as sexual harassment within the workplace and fear speaking up. People tend to want to mind their own business and do not feel as though it is their responsibility to report what is happening to someone else. However, if someone sees something and doesn't say something, they could be enabling a harasser to do as he or she pleases because the victim is too terrified to speak up for themselves. Although the laws in place to protect victims of sexual harassment may seem sufficient, they aren't, and if they were, then sexual harassment in the workplace would not still be happening currently. A call to action. Report all cases of sexual harassment. If you or someone you know are being sexually harassed at work, there are steps to take in order to help bring about justice. First, gather evidence, whether it be notes, emails, text messages, having someone record an incident, or finding colleagues who are witnesses and will support your claims. You must gather evidence. Second, report the harassment at work. Give your employer the chance to fix the situation. If that doesn't work, then take step 3. Third, file a complaint with the EEOC. If you file a complaint within the allotted time from the incident, then you are protected from retaliation when you file the EEOC claim. Steps on how to file a complaint are located here. Fourth, find a good lawyer. Your case may require a lawyer who will fight for your case in court. Find someone who knows about sexual harassment, not just an employment lawyer. Fifth, if nothing is solved or changed, the best option left is to leave the company when justice is not delivered to you. All of us must take the step to empower those being harassed. If you or someone you know is being sexually harassed, empower them to stand up and report their instances. Be there for them as a support system. Do not allow victim blaming to occur, and support those who come forward. Do not allow yourself or others to use stereotypes or myths such as she brought it upon herself, he was asking for it, her clothes prompted it, or well, if you want a raise, earn it by doing this. Cloud your judgment or your ability to help someone or yourself. If you see something, say something.